parents, 65M, 64F, stopped talking to me, 27F, after getting married and moving away. Next steps? Hi. Some background info. I used to be incredibly close to my parents, especially my mom. This changed when I got engaged in June 2021 and things started going downhill with my parents. My parents seemed to be disappointed in the engagement ring. Not a real diamond. The type of wedding we were planning. Elopement style with only parents invited and not a huge hall thing. My husband and his family not being as well off. Seemingly everything. During this time period my parents' expectations were difficult to manage and they often said rude things to my now husband and I. A side note but somewhat relevant, my parents are immigrants and started out with just the shirts on their back. Neither of them completed high school because they had to work. Growing up, we didn't have much and my parents sacrificed everything they could so my siblings and I could have a better future. Because of this, there was never an option for my siblings and I to be average. We were all pushed towards university and had to make something of ourselves. Now that my parents are in their 60s, all their saving and penny pinching has paid off in the sense that they have millions from investments. This is mostly from real estate that has skyrocketed in value and generates income from rent. Back to the unfolding of events. During our engagement, my fiancé and I decided we couldn't afford housing in our HCOL city. Renting and owning was too expensive. We told our parents that we're going to move to someplace affordable after we get married, but if they want to help us stay near them, we'd need help with a down payment so that we could afford a mortgage. My husband's parents said no, but that they'll support us in our move. Mostly because we'd need an incredible amount of money to have a mortgage be affordable on our salaries. My parents offered us one of their rentals at a slight discount. We were happy with the options but ultimately decided moving to a cheaper city was our best option. Plus, we didn't want my parents as landlords. This was the needle that broke the camel's back. In June 2022 we got married. And in August 2022 we moved across the country to another major city that was much more affordable and had jobs in our industries. After moving, my parents slowly stopped answering my phone calls and texts. When they did answer, they were short and didn't have many positive things to say. Typically they'd just ask when we were moving back. It was in February 2023. After trying to reach out and not getting callbacks, I finally decided to stop chasing after them. In return, they still to this day have not called me. I never expected them to enact a silent treatment, and this, I feel, has really gotten out of hand. My siblings have told me that my parents will never reach out to me and they're pissed. I don't really know what I would say if I called them up. Or if they'd answer. I am not really sure how to mend this fence. Any advice on what to do next? My thoughts are to try and reach out so all this craziness can stop. I'm not sure what they'd be receptive to other than me moving back. If an olive branch doesn't work, then I'm content to put this to rest and just move on. TLDR. Parents are mad I moved across the country after getting married and stopped talking to me. I miss my parents and want them back in my life. What is the best step forward? Edit. Woo www. This took off more than I expected. Thank you for the replies. Some info to add, things I want to clarify. 1. My husband isn't poor. He makes above the national average. However, to live comfortably in my hometown you need to possibly be a millionaire. An exaggeration. Average home price is 1.1 mil, which would require 268K household income. 2. My parents moved to Canada as children with their families. Not as adults. It wasn't their decision. Your parents will definitely pop back up in your life if you have a baby. Then they'll demand to see the grandchild and act confused when you're not comfortable with them. You have already extended an olive branch many times. I do not think that you should repeat the pattern. While it is unfortunate that your parents have decided to sever your relationship with them, I think that it is important that you recognize that they have given you a gift. Their behavior is selfish and domineering. Maintaining a relationship with them means decades more of that, which will only get worse as they age. I do think that you need to tell your siblings that you've decided to leave well enough alone. There may be some who push you to contact your parents. Just explain to them that you've made up your mind and that they have full control over their own relationship with your parents, but they have no input about yours. Sounds like you need to accept it. Sorry, disappointed. I come from immigrant parents. We moved here when I was under the age of 2. I feel like there is a certain sense of entitlement over your children's lives that comes from the way that some immigrant parents interpret the debt their children owe them. Sometimes they need a little bit more firm of a reminder of what moving for the sake of their children actually means. Your parents clearly feel that because of the sacrifices they willingly made as competent adults, you as their child owe them something. I'm not sure of what that looks like for them, but it's clear that your choices right now don't hit the mark. And to that I say good riddance. Good parents don't demand their children live their lives based on what they want. Loving parents don't stop talking to you when you do things they don't want you to. Parents who respect you as an individual don't act like how your parents are acting. So how do you move on? You just do. You grieve the loss of parental figures in your life. You grieve the potential of grandparents for your future children. Then you pick yourself up. Focus on the family you have created in the life that you two are building. And move on. And you keep that same energy even if you decide to have kids, because people who do not respect you as a person do not get access to your children. If they are capable of honestly and genuinely apologizing for their actions here, then, by all means, invite them back into your life. But do not feel obligated to do so purely because they gave birth to you or because they worked hard for you. They were your parents. That was their job. Stop kissing your parents' asses. They are being horrible to you and your fiancé. No one cares how hard they worked or where they started. If you want to make one last attempt at reaching out, a letter might be a good way to do it. It's easier to not answer the phone than to ignore something that was physically delivered to their house. It also carries a greater weight as a means of communication, and it gives you the opportunity to really think about what it is you want to tell them. I think this might be the best way to drive home the seriousness of the situation. That this really is their last chance to reconnect with you. And if they ignore that, too, good riddance. Honestly, they suck. They're throwing a tantrum and going no contact because you are no longer under their thumb. When they inevitably turn up if kids happen, don't let this slide. You deserve a hell of a lot better than how they're acting up. So your parents moved far away from home to make a better life for themselves but are angry that you did the same? Cut the rope. Let them go. I would change your number and not give them any rent in your head or your marriage. Word of caution. When you start having a family, remember how they treat you now. Don't tell them when you are pregnant. Don't tell them about your children. Nada. That is reserved for people who accepted and been a part of your lives unconditionally. They don't deserve a free pass. This is not on you nor anything to do with you. This is full score your parents. The more you react, the more they continue. If they become involved in your children's lives, that gives them more access and continual toxic behavior that your children will have to endure. Be happy. That's sad. I'm sorry. Don't fall for their manipulation though. Let them be for now. My siblings have told me that my parents will never reach out to me and they're pissed. So it's okay for them leave their entire country. But God forbid you move to another US state. Why are you even bothering? They don't care. So why waste your energy trying to make them be part of your life? You and your husband are your own family and what matter? Start your family and be happy. Just because someone popped you doesn't make them family. I think it is one of those immigrants versus their children. They still live in their culture and you have been assimilated. They think they don't know you anymore and are grieving about the loss of their cultural identity. This isn't something you can fix. Many times new identities, such as wife, can disrupt the family dynamics. The mixed metaphor made me giggle. Best of luck to you. Parents are being petty AF. Let me make sure I have this right. Your parents have saved their money and invested in real estate throughout the years, which is now worth millions of dollars because the housing market has changed? Is that correct so far? But for some bizarre reason your parents won't just give you a house even though you're probably going to inherit them all in 20 years? They wanted to give you a slight discount on rent? They didn't even want to have you pay pre-pandemic prices or something like that. No, slight discount. Wow. From your point of view, I do not think your parents owe you anything. From a parent's point of view, I would literally give my children a house to keep them around. Or just to keep them from struggling. In fact, I'm buying a house in the state my daughter is moving to so she has somewhere to stay as she decides exactly where she wants to move and I can come visit. I don't understand your parents at all. First of all, why do they care about your ring? Second of all, why would you tell them if you knew they were like this? I honestly don't think there's anything to be done here. They're too stubborn. They will never realize that they have the opportunity to help you stay around. They'll just be so mad that you left that they're letting it poison the relationship. I think if you look very carefully at your childhood, you'll find that they put a ridiculous amount of pressure on you and expected to live their lives vicariously through you, and you moving eliminates them doing that. They have no control over you where you're at and they don't like that. There's no fixing this unless you want to go back and kiss their butts to make it all better. Sorry. Have you asked your siblings what their thoughts are as to why they think your parents are mad at you? This is your parents' loss. You did nothing wrong. Have to ask, are you Greek? Don't reach out. This is on them, not you. They should make the first move. I would recommend the book, Rules of Estrangement by Dr. James Coleman. You have to decide what you value more. Your ability to decide what you do with your life or the presence of your parents. There is no middle ground here. They clearly showed that. What you want, I would let it be and live my life. Blood don't make a family. Love does. And they clearly love their worldview above everything else.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.